horrible lighting. I don't give a fuck. So, this will be chapter 3 of everything. I don't, the hand movement that I was doing, that just seemed very YouTube-like. You know where they do the like, tell everyone how we're doing. But this isn't the typical background. I am in the corner, sequestered and shit. I am in my own room as of right now. And, the previous video was recorded over at UCLA in my dorm campus. I wonder if I'm supposed to like give them credit because I used that area. I don't think so. But anyways, any whore, I am now in my own room, and I'm gonna do probably like 2 chapters in here, maybe just 1, depending on how I feel, and depending if my brother walks in. But speaking of my brother, I think I'll do the next chapter on him. But this chapter will be on my own identity. In terms of me being a little fag that I am. I'm gonna discuss me just coming to terms, myself at least, not like outer individuals. Maybe I will bring them up, but for right now I'm just gonna discuss my own internalization of me coming to terms with me being gay. So for me, I just had weird little things that I would do in terms of like, I guess like I used to like there used like I never got to play with like little Barbies and shit like that, because you know how some people are like, yeah, I play with Barbies, and that was like their idea of being gay. Like that's how some people were like, oh yeah, that's how like we figured out that you were like gay and stuff like that, at least like parents and shit like that. For me, there was this ugly little Trolls doll that I think one of my nieces or nephews had, that I used to play with when no one was home. I used to water the hair so it would go down on both ends, and I'd be like, look at this bitch serving looks with her pink ass hair. And yeah, I think I used that as like, that was my little toy. I used to play a bunch with like, because I did play with toys every once in a while, but it wasn't like it was intense or anything. I'd play with cars. I used to take the wheels off the cars. I had Power Ranger toys. That's what I really loved. But overall, I was more of a video game kind of person, and even then, I didn't like show like the. Kelly needs to shut the fuck up. You know what? I'm gonna pick a different song. We're gonna do Beyonce medley. And hopefully, sorry if it's awkward, quiet right now, but what the fuck ever. What the fuck ever. Okay, so for me, coming to terms with me just being gay, it never like, for me, I guess it was more of a progression of me like being much more feminine, if anything, rather than me just coming to terms with me being gay. I always had this thing where I would like, the thing that I did when I was younger is like I would see little boys play around my age. That sounds kind of awkward. So boys around my age, whenever they play, I'd see them and I always look for the one that was the cutest one, and then I'd try to be his friend. That's the shit that I would do. I would always like, so that was my way, especially when I was younger. I'm speaking like when I was in kindergarten, preschool kind of stuff. When I got to elementary school, I really didn't give a fuck about who I played with. Not, like when I'm thinking about like the friends that I had, wasn't more until like 3rd grade when I got a best friend and everything, and it was a guy, and it was like building that like kind of like straight heteronormativity in terms of like the boys playing with the boys, girls playing with the girls. But then as I got like to 4th and 5th grade, I had another best friend, and both of them ended up moving. And so I didn't really have like that, like, the next closest thing that I had as friends were females. So like, I would end up just hanging out a lot with like girls in 4th and 5th grade. And like, I would get questioned like, why do you keep on playing with girls? And at one point I did get insecure, and when I was confronted on it, like, why do you only hang out with us? Like, this one girl asked, I forgot, I don't know what the fuck her name is, but she asked me. I felt so insecure and so like unsure about myself that I was just all like, ooh. So the next day I started hanging out like with the guys and stuff like that. And this was in 5th grade. Sorry if I'm not being clear about shit. And so that kind of just like really made me feel insecure. Then in middle school, I went to elementary school in Grant. So that was much more north side of Long Beach. And then I went to Hughes, which is in Bixby, which is like middle Long Beach, I kind of want to say. In this kind of area, it's much more like where the much more privileged and much more higher income individuals would live. And I went there, and not that many people from my elementary school went there. So it was kind of like new beginnings, kind of bullshit and stuff like that. But even over here, like, I would find myself like looking at like guys and stuff like that, checking out guys. I had a crush on this one guy. Name shall not be given out because it's fucking weird. And so yeah, I had a crush on him, and it wasn't even like a crush where like I talked to him and then it'd be like, eh. It was more of like a from far away he was attractive, and that's how I developed a crush. And even then, like I pretend on my part to say that I liked girls, because I knew that if I were to say that I liked guys or anything like that, it would already be weird. And like I noticed that like my dad would already make comments about like those kinds of things, so that for me that just like continuously internalizes kind of like homophobia in terms of those kinds of things. And so it just for me it was just very like I don't know how to explain it, but I came out as bi to people. Well, I would tell some people I was straight in middle school. And then this one person, two people, I ended up telling that I was bi. One of them, Esmeralda. So if she ever sees this, just that's a shout out to you. I came out to her as bi. Told her I was talking to this one guy. And then this other girl named Diana. I came out to her too because she said that she was bi. So it was just like kind of easy for me to just be like, hey, I'm bi. And she was all like, okay, like it was just very like that kind of reaction, like what's the difference here? You're still the same kind of person. So it was very that. So I would still try to like pretend to tell like people like, yeah, I like such and such girl, or like, yeah, I have a crush on her, me. Or I play along with the idea that like, oh, I would make a cute couple with such and such girl. But for me, it was more of like, and so it wasn't until 8th grade, and then I'll get more into this in another chapter, but in 8th grade, like the end of 8th grade was when I ended up getting in a relationship. That was my first relationship. This person and I met, kissed that one time. We were good for like a week, and then they ended up moving away. So then I'll get into that later on. But yeah, like that was like me just like completely coming together with me just being gay. And so I never pondered about other identities within the spectrum because I didn't know about them. All I know was like straight and gay, lesbian, and I had some idea of trans and pansexuality. But for me, it was more of like a and then so those kinds of identities, I didn't feel like I related to them. Oh, let me tell you something else. The first time I went onto a a porn website. So I don't know what the fuck happened, but I was just like chilling, minding my own business, doing shit on the internet, obviously. And then I remember, like, you know how, like, on sidebars, they have, like, the side of the website, wherever you're at, they have little things. And so it just led to, like, a porn website. And I was like, I, like, made sure no one was home. And I just went on it. And I was like, And then I was, like, so confused as to what this was and everything like that. And it was straight porn, though. So then there was an option for gay porn. I feel like I have to whisper because, like, my mom's outside. Did that, and then I see a black male figure standing there in all his glory with a big dick. Big, and I mean big, and I was over here like, and I personally got an erection, and I was like, oh. So then and there, I knew, because I didn't get an erection with titties, but but I got one with the penis. I'm gay. You know? Like, at least physically, at least in the physical aspect, I want a dick. But I didn't know I want dick like that, you know? Ah, nasty. So then, yeah, so back to the story. So then this is like a timeline towards everything. So then just like further going and going and going, I just like started talking to more guys and stuff like that cuz after that relationship I broke up with them. But I just came more to terms with my stuff. With my mom, I came out to her in 7th grade, so before my relationship. But even I guess that kind of was like the little like little kickstart for me to like really like. So I had to pause the previous video because I heard footsteps. And I feel like if it's my brother, he's gonna interrupt me for too long, and I'm gonna end up smacking him. But yeah, like I was saying before, like it was just like a little like, it just kind of was the thing that kickstarted everything. So then going back to like the timeline of like 8th grade, 9th grade, it was like a new place because it was a new like the high school I went to was back in North Long Beach, and most of the people from Hughes didn't go to Jordan, which is where I went. I'm giving out all these names as if y'all know like the Long Beach area. If you don't, you can Google it. If you're too lazy to Google, then you're just gonna have to assume like you know what I'm talking about. So then yeah, I ended up going to Jordan, and here in 9th grade people would ask me, oh, are you gay? And I would always say no because I was still going by me being bi. So I was like kind of slick like that, you know? No, I'm not gay. Of course not. What? But like overall, yeah, no shit, I was gay. I couldn't. I love the female body, the female essence, and everything like that. But not to the extent where I'd want to build a relationship in the sense of a romantic relationship, sexual relationship, or anything like that. I only like friendships, you know? And so for me, it just kind of like, I was still kind of like, I still feel like it was that sense of like me still trying to find an identity within myself, because it was like I said, a whole new high school and everything. And it seemed like people already knew each other. I didn't really know that many people, and I was still trying to find my own little like clique. And I guess that clique would eventually help me find some type of relationship within myself. But it just kept going until like in like 10th grade I'd be much more open about talking about dick, ass, guys, and shit like that. Like I was just much more open about it, and that kind of just like really like brought this idea where like people didn't really need to ask me about my sexual orientation because I made it much more apparent. I was more of this like, yeah, like did you see his ass? Oh, he's kind of cute. I don't think he's that cute. And then it'd be kind of like the, oh, he said this. Do we kind of question about that and stuff like that? Hold up, let me turn on the volume or pause it. I'm back, bitches. So then it just kind of like, if you get what I mean by that, like it just kind of like all added up together, and kind of just like I was just much more open about that. And then just me being much more open was like my way of really like coming out and everything like that. I never necessarily like had to be like, yeah, I'm gay to people who were like in my classrooms and stuff like that. At least I don't think I was. And then like I guess what really just kind of like brought it all together was the one person who was like I really was like scared about just even coming out to was my dad. And because he's very machismo, very like that kind of thing where it's all like anything outside of like the normativity that was created in Mexico was kind of frowned upon. And one of those things is being much more feminine within the Latinx community if you are a male, and just being gay to a certain extent. And so for me, I was much more feminine. I was kind of, those kinds of things were like things that resonated with me, being gay and being a bit more feminine. And I guess like I realized that slowly and surely that when I started coming out more and more and I was being much more comfortable, I was much more capable of doing much more feminine things. And not to say that I'm like a completely feminine person. I think I'm like this little middle ground and stuff like that that leans much more towards feminine kind of things in terms of like how I speak and how I do hand gestures and stuff like that. Um, Cause the thing that also happened, like in high school, people would tell me I would have never guessed that you were gay. And then I'm over here, and people now say, I can never see you as straight. Like once I met you, like I saw how you spoke, I saw how you moved in a sense, and I knew you were gay. And I'm like, I knew you were gay. And it's all like, okay, well, thank you, I guess. But like those kinds of things, like that's kind of the balance that I'm talking about. Like the whole femininity idea was kind of like I became much more feminine and I became much more comfortable with myself. And I guess that's the beauty of this whole idea of being gay, is that I was able to be much more comfortable with myself. Like I'm much more comfortable. I'm much more okay with just like holding that identity and being much more out about it. And it's very fun because when I go to Pride, it's like I enjoy this. Like it's like I went to Pride last week for Long Beach and everything like that. And like I was like around a bunch of just like queer and trans and like people of the spectrum just like being there having fun, not giving a fuck, and just like fucking amazing. And then I went back to school and then I saw a straight couple holding hands and I'm like, why the fuck are there straight people here? And I'm like, fuck. uh, fuck. Like, of course, like the normativity is straight people, bitches. And like, it just like, it's so much more calming, much more soothing. Being able to be in an area of people that hold the same identity or are within the same community, and also just being comfortable with myself, you know. And I guess I could thank not really thank my dad for this, thank myself mainly for having the courage just to tell him, because me telling him was like that final like block that I needed to like really just be like, I'm gay, I'm happy with it, I'm comfortable with it, I love it, and it's fucking amazing, you know. And that identity just like is just so powerful to me, you know. And what I love about it is like the intersectionality it has with being Latinx, because something about just being Latinx is just so like makes me feel so proud, like just being able to be Latino and just being able to like, I don't know, wait, my phone's on low battery, so I had to do that. But yeah, like just those two identities within themselves just being put together, just I fucking love that. Although it does kind of like being a person of color, you are already brought down, and then being a person who's queer, you are brought down as well within society. And it's all like now you have that intersectionality, and it's all like boom. But at the same time, I still feel like um, within the community, unfortunately, if you are gay, I feel like you are like at the top of the totem pole for everything. So that kind of does suck. And like I feel like um just my identities have brought about this idea of like when I'm privileged and when I'm not. And I guess this is like this is mainly supposed to be about me being gay, but I guess I could just bring about my other identities as well. I'm able-bodied, and I guess many of us take it for granted because I compare my experiences to my sisters who can't even speak on her experiences. Like that's all. Like that's already something. If you can't speak on your own experiences because of the able-bodiedness, the disabilities that your body has, like that's already like a whole bunch. I'm here being able to create these fucking videos and tell my story. My sister can't do that. So that's already my privilege that I have. And then I'm a male. Like I identify as a male. I identify as a man. I did not go through any transitions. I'm not going through any of any of those experiences as someone else. So that's already something else. Like I'm already like at a step higher than someone who could possibly be transitioning and holding that identity like straightforward with them, or someone who's female, because in this binary society that we have, men are way better off than females, unfortunately. And it's so fucking stupid. And then being a person of color, like unfortunately, like a person of color who's in a lower income community, like not many of us have the opportunities to like go so far because we don't have the resources, or we're put in an environment that pushes us back from actually going a step further than what we're capable of. And that's also unfortunate. Like, that's some fucked up shit. And then I feel like there's this thing where like when you're Mexican, you kind of to a certain extent have this privilege. At least this is my perspective from what I've experienced, is like everything is being can be identified, like for someone who's not in the Latinx community to be like, oh, Mexican food, oh, you're from Mexico, oh, you're Mexican. And it's all like there's so many other like areas, like come on, like and as I guess just being identified as Mexican all around is unfortunate in that sense for other identities. And that's kind of like the whole idea of privilege. But at the same time, in times right now where it's all like Mexico's at the border, the immigrants from Mexico and stuff like that, like the idea of immigrants always goes to Mexico, unfortunately. So it's like each identity has its own like issues and stuff like that. And unfortunately, like rather than supporting one another, identities tend to, some identities, and well, not some identities, I want to say some groups within these identities tend to like bring each other down. That's some fucked up shit. Like, we should be supporting each other. Now I'm just doing a whole fucking rant. And then going back to the gay thing, like if you're a gay male, like gay white male especially, you are like at the top of the thing. Like, you are put on television, you are put like as you're idolized for all these things and everything, whereas everyone else is kind of like pushed to the side, but we're slowly getting ourselves out there. But if you're mainly gay, I feel like you're really up there. There was the I hear the fucking door like shaking and shit like that. Not my door. It's my brother's door. And I'm thinking, ooh, el tutuy. El tutuy ahí viene. La llorona. But yeah, I don't know. Now I just went on a rant. But overall, I've been able to like really reflect, at least this year, on my identities. And like overall, like my identity as being gay has really been the thing that has really like helped me build my courage, whereas my Latinx identity has really helped build my confidence. You get me? And like my ability to be proud and confident, whereas my queer identity also has done that, but much more like the courage aspect of me being just like out there and putting myself out there as well. Because I feel like overall I've just am an extroverted person. Yeah. Yeah. I need a fucking water bottle. I fucking spoke a lot. I am so sorry if I spoke a lot. I am so sorry if like these things are really just like dragging along. And if you are going along for the ride with me, like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if y'all want to discuss your own identities, like I probably like on a random day when I'm like have like free time or something, like I'll reply to your comments. I'll look at your comments. I'll like give my opinions. If y'all have your opinions that you'd like to share, y'all can share them. Opinions are like assholes. Most people have them, cause I feel like somewhere, someplace, there are some people without buttholes, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's why I said most people have opinions and buttholes. But yeah, thank you for listening. I really enjoy it. And we had a good time tonight. And it was fucking amazing. I feel awkward looking at y'all while I turn this on.